CNN's Anderson Cooper now on assignment for 60 Minutes.
What happens after you win a historic 8 gold medals in a single Olympic Games? Only one person in the world can answer that question, Michael Phelps. Since Beijing, Phelps has enjoyed his longest break from training ever. He's on a victory lap of sorts, touring the country, building the Michael Phelps brand. He let us tag along with him and gave us his most extensive interview since the Olympics. Tonight we'll show you how he won in Beijing, how he almost didn't, and what life is now like for an unassuming 23-year-old swimmer who's also the greatest Olympic athlete ever. The red carpet at MTV's Video Music Awards in Hollywood. The loudest screams were not for a rapper or a rocker or even the usual suspects. They were for Michael Phelps, a guy who can barely carry a tune.
This is cool.
The next day, an appearance on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno.
That was great.
Then a red-eye flight to New York, where he helped open the stock exchange the next morning. But Phelps was starting to show the wear and tear of a tour that had taken him from Beijing to Portugal to San Francisco, among other stops. By mid-September, he'd not been home for 3 months. We caught up with him in New York between a commercial shoot and a rehearsal for Saturday Night Live. Do you worry that you're doing too much?
No, because I'm having fun. You know, it's like, excuse me, you know, after I think,
I'm trying not to take your yawning personally.
no, it's
How quickly could you fall asleep right now?
within seconds.
Really?
Literally, probably within a minute, I could be out cold.
And sure enough, it took you 50 seconds to fall asleep. We actually timed it.
I was exhausted that day.
Are there moments when you're like, this is just nuts?
There have been a few times where I've been like, wow, this is, more than I expected or more than I thought would happen.
What's happening is a just reward for a guy who's been training non-stop since age 11. His teenage years were spent like this, swimming lap after lap, thousands of hours staring at a black line on the bottom of a pool. Bob Bowman is his coach.
For about 5 years, he did not take one day off.
Christmas Day?
Nope, we trained on Christmas.
His birthday?
Oh yeah, that's a given. Twice on his birthday.
How do you do that every day?
To be honest, it's not wanting to lose, wanting to do something that no one else had ever done before. That's what got me out of bed every day.
The workouts were so intense, Bowman became known as the mad scientist. What were some of the toughest workouts?
10,000 meters for time.
Just 10,000 meters all out?
Yeah, ready, go. And that takes about 2.5 hours.
Full out
Yeah,
racing?
just swim as hard as you can for 2.5 hours.
Like, horrible, horrible workouts. You know, when you see them on paper, you're like, I can't do this. He makes us do it, so we're more confident and we know that we can do anything that we put our mind to.
Payoff came at the 2004 Athens Olympics. Phelps won 6 gold medals, an extraordinary achievement, but he just missed Mark Spitz's record of 7 golds. Then came Beijing, and a chance to make history. To win 8 golds, Phelps needed to swim 17 times in 9 days. So many things could go wrong in Beijing, and they did. In the 200-meter butterfly final, his goggles filled with water virtually from the start.
They started filling up more and more and more, and about 75 meters left in the race, I could see nothing. I couldn't see the black line. I couldn't see the T. I was purely going by stroke count. And I couldn't take my goggles off because they were underneath 2 swim caps.
Somehow, he not only won his 4th gold medal of the Games, he also set a world record. But after winning his 6th gold, 1 short of Spitz's record, Phelps now admits for the first time he was whipped.
I remember saying, I got nothing left.
I could just see it in his face. If you look at the pictures right after the race and he was in the water, I thought, wow, he is really tired.
Then came the 100-meter butterfly final, the race everyone remembers. With little left in his tank and a historic 7th gold medal on the line, Phelps was behind Serbia's Milorad Kavic with just 35 meters to go.
I was like, please get your hand on the wall first. Please get your hand on the wall first. I remember like the last 2 or 3 strokes that I had misjudged the finish. I thought that was the race. I saw I had won and turned around, looked at the board, and saw it was by 1/100th. And that's where the emotion came out. That's where the big splash of the water, like the big roar. I mean, you could tell that I was pretty intense after that race.
A photo finish if ever there was one. That's Phelps on the left, Kavich on the right. Looking at these photos, Phelps noticed something. What's going on there?
You see here, he's picking his head up before he's finishing. So it's acting as like a speed bump. So he's coming up and then trying to lift his head up before he touches the wall. And now mine's in a straight streamline. So that's the difference of the race. If his head's down there, he wins. Hands down wins the race.
A tilt of the head helped Michael Phelps become an Olympic legend.
And look at me, beauty.
The cover shoot for Sports Illustrated was the kickoff to a marketing frenzy few other Olympic athletes have ever experienced.
Michael Phelps.
Phelps had 9 major sponsors even before Beijing. Now he's overwhelmed with proposals.
It's been a crazy ride.
While visiting Visa's headquarters, we caught him backstage as his agent, Peter Carlisle, showed him a big offer on his BlackBerry.
Rejected. Shut up.
It was rejected. $5 million turned down.
Sometimes I get a little frustrated, but in the long run, I know why he rejected it and why he does stuff like that.
These types of things were happening so frequently. The number of offers like that just obviously didn't fit in, it was astounding.
This is Peter. So give me some numbers.
Carlisle's office receives about 300 calls a day regarding Phelps. But he's only looking for companies that fit Phelps's lifestyle. 10 restaurant chains offered Phelps deals, but he signed with Subway, in part because they plan to market Phelps overseas. A car endorsement in China will soon follow.
How you guys doing?
To entice more kids to swim, he set up a foundation, and a Michael Phelps video game is in the works. He also appears in a commercial for the video game Guitar Hero. A new book will be out shortly,
Michael!
as will a documentary with behind-the-scenes footage of Phelps.
You are so great!
In his lifetime, how much do you think Michael Phelps will earn?
It's tens of millions of dollars.
More than 100 million?
If I had to bet, yeah.
It's pretty good for a swimmer.
Pretty good for a swimmer and for his pet. Even Michael's dog, Herman, may cash in.
There have been several sponsorship proposals
For Michael Phelps' dog.
for Herman. No joke.
Hi, Michael. It's Mom.
And Michael's mom, Debbie, got so much airtime at the Olympics, she made a commercial for Johnson & Johnson and struck a deal with the clothing company Chico's.
When you heard that someone was interested in having a sponsorship with you,
Crazy.
crazy.
It's crazy, you know. Ladies, gentlemen, go to your door, please.
Her life may have gotten crazy, but Debbie has not quit her day job.
Hi, everybody. How you doing? Good to see you, baby doll.
She's a principal at a middle school in Baltimore. Her only complaint? One echoed by mothers everywhere.
Yes.
Her son doesn't call enough.
How do you communicate with him now most of the time?
Text.
You text. Did he teach you how to text? Were you a big texter
Well,
before?
I was not a big text person, but I know he's always texting all the time. So I taught myself how to text.
He may be too busy to call, but he's quick to tell you what his mom did for him as a single parent.
I'm happy that she's getting recognized for everything that she's done, because it's been so much of a big impact in my life.
You owe her a lot.
I owe the world.
He said he owes you everything. He told us that.
You made me cry, Anderson. That's a lot. Because I just looked at it. I was a parent that wanted my kid to do well.
This is,
Michael's success has allowed him to buy a $1.5 million apartment in his hometown, Baltimore.
I walked in and I was like, I want this place.
What's so remarkable about Michael Phelps is how unremarkable he is outside the pool. Take a tour of the apartment and you quickly see he is at heart a 23-year-old kid.
Do you actually have food here?
We have some stuff. Most of it is drinks, chips and cereal.
Rice Krispie treats, Nutri-Grain bars, and Reese's peanut butter cups.
Yeah.
Definitely a bachelor pad.
So hungry.
His prodigious appetite remains intact.
Yes.
Over breakfast of eggs Norfolk with crab meat and a quesadilla with sour cream, he was anxious to dispel one myth.
The story that everyone knows about you or has heard about you is that you eat 12,000 calories a day.
It's not true.
So how much does Phelps eat? A mere 8,000 to 10,000 calories a day when he's training.
You know, like with how much I work out, you know, I have to always just constantly shovel food in because I can lose anywhere from 5 to 10 pounds in a week.
In 1 week?
In a week.
What are you at right now?
Probably 205.
Is that the heaviest you've been?
Yep. I've never been over 200 pounds.
Yeah, you really look like you've let yourself go.
Phelps plans to resume training again in January for the London Olympics in 2012. This day was only the 4th time he'd been in the pool since Beijing. While there, he and his coach, Bob Bowman, brought out a secret list.
And have you ever shown this to anyone before?
No.
The list was put together the year before the Olympics. On it, the times Phelps hoped to achieve in Beijing. It turns out he was off by nearly a second in the 200-meter butterfly when his goggles filled with water.
For you, was that still a successful race?
No.
I think a lot of people would be surprised that you left Beijing a little disappointed.
There were 2 races I didn't hit.
Yeah.
The 100 and 200 fly.
So it was disappointing.
I mean, not as a whole, but
it's all relative, right?
Right, yes.
Since he was in good spirits and relatively out of shape, we decided to see how the world's greatest swimmer would do against a middle-aged mortal. But there were conditions.
How about if I'd get to dive and I get to do freestyle,
Okay.
1 lap, you go underwater the whole way, you can't breathe, and you can't take a stroke.
Let's go. Let's do it.
And you'll still beat me.
Let's go.
Okay, I'm gonna change. Yeah, let me.
Take your mark, go!
What does it feel like to race Michael Phelps? I couldn't tell you. He moved by me so quickly, I never even saw him.
Thank you. All right, so I got beat by Michael Phelps. Not too bad. Sorry if I hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Phelps is not one to brag about his victories.
They're very heavy.
Yeah.
He showed us his 8 gold medals, but only because we asked.
Whoops.
My heart just skipped a beat.
He keeps them in a safe place, but has never brought them out just to admire them. This was only the 2nd time he'd seen them together. The enormity of his achievement still hasn't completely sunk in.
I mean, it's amazing to see them all at once. It's even more remarkable when you think you have 6 others.
I was just thinking about that. I was just thinking about what 6 more would look like on the table.
And maybe even more than that someday.
We'll see.